How about we move on to Meta's topic?
Well, I'm also going to talk about something that kills you a lot on the inside and
Is it
out.
and involve samurai?
No. I
Oh,
kind of
you've
wish. I
let me
wish I could have
down.
hit. I know I did.
Oh, finally, I
wish
thought we were going to hit Sudoku as a concept in the 21st century. Crap.
Sorry, man.
Not today. We can't cross that bridge today.
I couldn't hit the trifecta. But that doesn't mean it's not without its lack of three beautiful things. It's a series that just came out pretty recently, actually, called Love, Death, and Robots. Just premiered on Netflix.
I have no clue what this is, so I'm
It's about
happy
4
to
weeks.
listen
I have slightly more clue of what this is, but not much.
Oh, I was about to say, you
I
watched
started
it now.
watching this the other day.
It's really good.
We've got the full menagerie.
You got the four. All right, so for those of you who don't know what something new that just came out is, I mean, like, what are you living under a rock or something? It just came out. Like, you should know
Yeah,
everything
living under
about
a
it.
robot.
Yeah, right. No, but so essentially, Love, Death, and Robots is a conglomeration of
An
small
anthology.
short stories. Yeah, it's an anthology. Small short stories put together, animated from a number of different studios and whatnot. Some of them repeating in there just because they have a lot, I guess, to do. And then put in and post it up, and you can watch all the different episodes, which can cover from a number of different topics and whatnot. Most of them are pretty much just like a short story that you read. They kind of tell a little tale, then there's a cool twist, and then that's pretty much it. And then you go on to the next one. Some are better than others, obviously. Some are very short.
Oh, cool.
But it got a little bit of everything for everyone. If you only care about reviews and numbers, then Rotten Tomato, the average tomato meter gave it a 75%, but the average audience score was 90%. IMDb gave it an 8.8. It's out of, I guess, 35,219 reviews. So there you go. Depending on what you define or what you like and whatnot, it will also change how you decide you want to see an anthology. If anthologies are not your thing, then obviously this is probably not the thing for you. If you love short stories and like to see something that generally runs anywhere from between 6 to 17 minutes of runtime, then this is definitely the thing for you. And they cover a lot of stuff. They cover from, well, I mean, I guess the title gives it away, but they'll cover anything from the future to sci-fi. Not so much fantasy, but there are elements of fantasy in there.
So is Love Death and Robots, is that like the main theme that runs across throughout?
I'm getting some horror vibes.
No, it's
is there like a main theme
there really
that kind of pulls them all together?
No, there's no main theme. There really is just like opening up the big book of short stories and just reading whatever short story they put in.
I mean, a lot of them have robots. Death is a pretty common theme in a lot of the episodes.
Like, and then there's definitely love in a number of them too.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, so they are there. They are prominent points, but it's not generally always a thing. It's not. There's not like an actual theme that covers everything and kind of like pulls it all together. It really is just a set of short stories.
Well, like, give us an example of some of the stories. Like the first one, I really enjoyed.
Yes. Well, just to jump back real fast. I mean, technically, if you were to go to the Wikipedia, they do state in the premise that the series title refers to each episode's thematic connection to Love, Death, and Robots. But I would say that, like, I mean, those are just all elements of each of these stories, and since they're all short stories, they kind of we're gonna normally run that kind of gambit anyway.
I mean, let's be honest. Every good story has love, death, and robots in it.
I was gonna say that's pretty much back to the point.
That is kind of the theme of this episode. So there we go. Actually, I think all of our topics have
Sekiro has
death,
love
death.
For duty,
love for your lord,
for duty.
Lots of death. He has a robot arm, technically.
Right, there are no robots,
as far as you know.
Well, but not all the episodes are robots out and out in this.
He's a cyborg, Mal. He's a cyborg. He's half robot.
So to get you into the biggest one,
side.
Let's go over the story. Like it just is like Tess said, like real fast here. Like the first episode is called Sunny's Edge, and it's essentially set in kind of this cyberpunkish future setting where individuals of a certain nature join kind of these groups to do genetically monster underground gladiator type battles and whatnot.
It's
And
dogfighting with mini kaiju.
yeah, pretty much. That's really what it is. And there's a lot of money to be made out of this. There are people who do heavy betting and whatnot. It kind of has vibes from like all those older boxing movies where it's like you just gotta throw the fight, bruh, and then I'll give you a big payout. And they're like, it's about my pride, and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of like where it gets to kind of like that. It gets
Pretty
that
soon, there's one guy in the crowd going, "Adrian."
Yeah. So the first movie, I mean, the first episode really is that kind of theme and whatnot, but it's essentially these individual groups, these three people and their monster, and they're getting ready to do a fight and whatnot pretty soon, and they're visited by the twirling mustache villain type guy who's like this rich dude who doesn't really care about anything, but he asks them to throw the fight, even though they've been super successful, specifically because they think that it might be because that the main character she's lived through a very harsh life, so she's kind of got that edge that you need to win, so to speak. But obviously he tries to buy them out, say, I want you to lose this fight, and they decide to toss him away, and he's like, okay, fine, I can't convince you. It goes into the fight, and I won't spoil any more from there, but you can obviously guess that there's more to than just what's going to obviously be a normal matchup and whatnot. But what makes it so great is the small twist at the ending, literally right at the ending, that gives such a much larger perspective and kind of really opens up to you as to why they are so successful in an area that generally individuals like them would not be successful in this gladiatorial combat. And that kind of really sets the tone for the rest of them, where they generally have some twist or a little surprise that expands on something. Some of them are better than others. Some of them have nothing really, any twist at all. But you can generally see them in some shape or form. I will recommend for a personal favorite, absolute favorite, is Beyond the Aquila Rift. That is the one I would recommend if you watch none of the other ones. Watch Beyond the Aquila Rift. It's awesome. It's really good. Otherwise, I would recommend the first one, Sunny's Edge, because that's probably one of the better ones too.
Oh, interesting. A bunch of them are based off of stories.
Yes, they are actually. That was about a number of them are based off of actual stories written by.
Well, Sunny's Edge specifically is based off of Sunny's Edge by Peter Hamilton.
Yes. The story Beyond the Aquila Rift is written by a story called Beyond the Aquila Rift by Alastair Reynolds. You'll notice that they're based, if you go to the Wikipedia, you'll see that a lot of them are based on stories. I think there's only 2 or 3 that might be not based off of an actual story or just original concepts. The Witness is not based off of any story at all. So that was a unique one. And Blind Spot is not written by anybody beforehand, so this was just them doing their own thing.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to suits just off of the description here on Wikipedia. Small community of farmers pilot mech suits to defend their land from an invading swarm of insectoid aliens.
Yep, it's pretty good. They're all good.
I like all the different animation styles.
That's so Tetscore. Yeah. I'm just going to start referring to stuff that's like Tetsuo's aesthetic as Tetscore.
Tetscore. Yeah, there are a number of different animation styles prevalent. Even certain a number of studios do show up again. Like Blur Studio shows up a couple times. And
do all of their episodes look similar, or is each one different?
No, they're almost always different. There are some that use what is essentially what I don't know if there's actually a term for it, but what I call photorealism, where it's essentially everything looks like it's realistic, but it's also CG. But they went really high into high intensity graphics for it, so it might give some people the uncanny feeling, the uncanny valley feeling. But I never noticed the person.
Oh no!
Yeah, but yeah, there's like a lot of them really do show up. Like Sunny's Edge and Suits. Certainly you can see kind of where they come from, the same studio, but in certain regards, but they're very different styles, and they're both made by Blur Studio.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's nice to see that they don't repeat those.
Yeah, I've not really ever seen this before in video form. Like I've seen plenty of anthologies in manga or short stories. But
yeah. It kind of actually, it really reminds me. It kind of gives me the vibe of like scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what it's like. There's just a lot of short stories in there, and you get to kind of watch them. They just all share, in some shape or form, as close as you can be to, I guess, what they say the theme is: be love, death, and robos. But yeah, it's a wonderful little trip. The whole thing altogether is not long.
I was gonna say, adding it up is probably not.
It's probably maybe 2 hours ish.
Oh wow. Yeah, it was like I saw one was like 6 minutes. I was like,
Yeah, the longest ones are 17 minutes, and there's a number of those, but
yeah. I think only one was 6 and one was 7.
yeah, like I mean, let me see here. Yeah, 18 episodes. Some of them can jump to 17. Some of them are, one of them is like freaking 6 minutes long. They're not. Although you'll probably get this around 2 hour marker for these bad boys. Probably longer. It might take you 3. I don't know. I would have to do math.
I'm doing the math right now, actually.
Are you?
Yep.
You're on it. You're on it. So
for time,
3.7 hours.
Oh,
there you go.
Almost 4 hours.
Yeah, almost called. Wow, I was
That's
half
like 4.
off.
That's like
Definitely
3.5 episodes of Star Trek.
I would absolutely recommend it if you love short stories. Because there's no like consistency between them. There's no like continuity between them and everything. You can just pick it up when you want, watch an episode or 2, and then go away and do something else. Or you could be like me and eat it all in one sitting, like it's a giant bag of potato chips.
That is probably what I'm
typical
gonna do.
Netflix.
That's generally how I
binge
content.
watch.
I binge everything. I can't come back to it.
Yeah. Like I want to just dive into it. Like that's why I've been kind of putting off getting into it. And
I would just say, yeah.
I don't think it's something my wife will enjoy, which is part of the reason why I've been waiting to like have a moment. But we now with the small child means she doesn't really leave the house as much. So,
hey, it's definitely a good watch with the wife. Or by yourself. I will say I think the funniest one is the 3 robots, which is the second.
I've seen a lot of gifs of that online.
It's everybody. That's the thing that actually English. Just can't pick up on my letters. 3 robots is actually how I learned about it because somebody had a picture of it up there and like I really wish they make just a whole series on these guys and I was like, what is this? And then that's how I saw Love, Death, and Robot whatnot. So yeah, people really love that one. It's a very funny one. The robots are very entertaining to watch. They kind of just wander the world and learn about it. So, but they're all good. They're all good.
Watch Black Mirror. Do it.
What is Black? Just for reference, I don't know what Black Mirror is. So,
Black Mirror. Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's like the Twilight Zone kind of, but with technology is the focus. If you like the same kind of like mini series esque, like every episode's its own story, but with a more like bleak kind of outlook on stuff, and with the twist like typical Twilight episode, Twilight Zone episodes have.
Kind of clinical doctoral way that Wikipedia says is that it examines modern society, particularly with regard to the unanticipated consequences of new technologies. Episodes are standalone, usually set in an alternate present or the near future, often with dark and satirical tone, though some are more experimental and lighter.
Yeah. The first one is actually probably the darkest episode of the whole series.
Honestly, the first one's why I've never watched it. Like,
that's how my friend is. He watched it and was like, I don't want to watch this show. And I was like...
I didn't watch the episode. I just read the description.
Yeah.
And I was
like, Meta... It wouldn't bother Meta, is my prediction. I think it would turn you and Mao off, though.
I like dark stuff, so...
Well, it was like one of those things, like, I couldn't quite put my finger on why I didn't like it. Like, it wasn't any... There was nothing out about it that turned me off.
It's very different from every other episode of the show, too. It's weird. I mean, I guess maybe it was a pilot, but I don't know. We've kind of veered away from the topic. I want to talk about Black Mirror at one point. Maybe when someone else has seen it.
I think it's definitely a good way. I think it's definitely a good comparison because if Black Mirror is a much bleaker thing to look at, then I would definitely say Love, Death, and Robots is really not bleak. So
yeah,
if that's not your
yeah,
thing,
and it doesn't look that way
know.
either. The miniseries aspect,
Hmm.
like maybe like a good example without spoiling much of an episode. There's like Ron Howard's daughter is in one of the newer episodes. The whole episode, basically, people have social media apps on their phone where they kind of like rate exchanges with people in like business. I mean, it's kind of like a Yelp review or something, but it's tied to you as a person, and your kind of like social status is based off of it. So the character is like obsessed with obviously having the high score because she gets more money and gets to live in a nicer place based on like her social work on this
There's actually
app.
a Community episode based around that.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's funny.
We're connecting it all.